United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Johnson.
Present.
Councilman Wheeler.
Present.
Mayor Maselli. Police Chief Walker.
Here.
Fire Chief St. Cyr.
Present.
City Chief Linda Lulu is absent, and Municipal Clerk Nicole Lee is present.
The budget hearings are now open. We can start with the fire department, if you would, so like if you have any comments.
Good evening, thank you. Trying to turn to my page. I'd be happy to, if you have any questions of me regarding this budget that the mayor has put forward, I'd be happy to answer.
I do want to interject one thing. Considering the circumstances, I totally expect that the budget will be greatly amended. We're having this hearing, it's required by law, we have advertised the budget. It's much easier to inherit a budget than not come in with a budget, so it will be a great, if Councilman Baudier chooses to use any part of it during his administration, it just is a good place to start. I would recommend that at the December regular meeting, whether this budget is great, the same, whatever, pass it so you don't have an audit finding to pass the budget. And you can always amend your budget through the year as you go, but it's much easier to be in compliance starting off than to be behind the eight ball. And if the intention is to have an entirely new budget, you know, if you're going to be putting up a budget, then I don't know how much of this discussion is necessary. So.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say, you know, in the past, and you know, I've sat in this very seat for almost 20 years. In the past was typically, anytime there was a new administration or a vastly new council, we've always relied and turned it over and let them adopt their own budget, but I also understand that we also have measures in place through ordinance that require us to do that, you know, by the end of the year and have a budget in place. Although state law also provides for you to have half of a budget starting the next year up to the 6 months. So,
but we also have state law, not ordinance, state law requires that the budget be in place by December 31st.
correct.
So even if it doesn't get amended one iota, you came in on January 1st and amended it, changed it, threw it out, you can do so. If you amend it at the December regular meeting with all the amendments that you want, you pass it. You can still come in 2019 and continue to amend it. It is meant so that you can be compliant. You don't. It would just be something that would be off the audit and off your shoulders, and that you can have some breathing room when you take over. It's not anything other than a way. It was much harder for us to come in with no budget at all and struggle with putting up a new administration, bringing things up to speed, than to not have it. So this is done for several reasons. It's done to meet state law requirement, and it's done for the residents so they know where we are, where we're projected at the end of the year, what next year looks like at this standpoint, and it's not intended to bind anyone's hand because it starts over January 1. It starts over at the next city council meeting, depending on how many amendments we put up. So it's just a starting point.
So with that being said, you know, I never mind talking about the fire department's budget or the fire department in general. So again, if you have any questions, I didn't prepare a budget for you tonight. It would be the same thing presented. many years. Of course, we need additional manpower, of course, we need to address some equipment needs. And, we're happy to put that together in writing for you or the new council or whatever in the future. You know, we're short, not just a little bit of manpower, we're short a lot of manpower. You know, we don't need what's the bottom line on our budget here is, 228 is the proposed budget, which I think would include the additional personnel, which we appreciate that being considered in this budget. That's great. But I need to rise well above that. And, you know, instead of 922, we really need to be closer to 17, 18. How do we get there? And that's something that we're gonna have to talk about with the new council and the new mayor. So rather than spending your time tonight going through all of that, if you would like to address that in the future, I'll be happy and I'm available to meet and talk with anyone. I can present that formally to you if that's what you'd like.
Yeah, I have a couple of things I
Sure.
want to get with you, because I know you said that, you just mentioned that they're allocating the extra personnel.
Yes, it appears, that's what it appears to me.
Okay, because in the salary lines, we adopted 472 last year, the proposal for now is 465. That's a reduction in salaries.
That would have at least the one person in then, and that, I just looked at the bottom line.
Okay.
But that would have at least replacing the one person, and then the second person would have to look and see how that fits within those things.
Right. And then, yeah, and then like overtime pay, we allocated, I mean, and I guess there's a difference between the overtime and then the straight time. Like I have just some notes on things. Your annual leave is missing in its entirety.
Well, overtime right now, overtime pay.
I mean, I know we can get together. I was just saying some things.
Straight time overtime is gonna be just overtime pay. I think that would be, that's not salary adjustment.
No, those were some lines that I had noted.
Right.
That I was questioning. Is your salary line is down. I know there's the thing of the straight time, overtime. It's nothing in 2019, but then she moved into another line, then your holiday pay.
I'm gonna have to call Linda and
Right,
see exactly
right.
what she was thinking, what her thought process was with that. And I'll do that.
Any further discussion? Edwin, would you like to speak? Edwin Morris, maintenance.
I think it's the same categories, everybody else, the new mayor, besides, Matt will, everybody else. I don't have to play together.
472.
Well, that's what we
I
had.
like one person, I like all mine. Trucks are getting old, they've been since Katrina. I'd like to see about a couple of new trucks. Maybe a lease or something like that, but for right now, I mean, same thing as top. Just do what we got for right now and adjust to that. Okay. Thank you.
Since all other departments fall under administration, I'm allowed not to speak specifically to anything. I think the numbers kind of speak for themselves, and it'll be reconsidered anyway. Police chief?
Yes. Just handed out what we did was we took the 2018, what was given to us for 2018, was allocated by the council and added the millage. Mary, where the email that Linda Lou sent out this afternoon?
The one in response to
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. You didn't see it?
I did not remove.
I think I did.
Okay. Because I did email her, it was Tuesday.
Did you
With
get
some,
this one?
I will check.
I didn't bring it myself.
So you're saying if the millage didn't pass, the deficit for the city projected for 2019 would be $359,000? Is that what you're projecting? Did you get the sheet in?
I saw those. Did you forward any questions to Ms. Woodward?
I don't get to after 1 o'clock.
I would suggest just forward any questions to Ms. Woodward.
Wait. the whole thing about the millage, and I addressed this with Linda, is if the millage is allocated specifically for the salaries, and if you generate X and you expend X, and that's why I asked for the, I guess I need to go through this response, the bottom line really shouldn't be that much affected. First, she said it was short 75,000, we'd be in a deficit of 75, now she's saying 378. I mean, that's 300,000 more. My understanding of the millage is we're bringing in this revenue that's gonna be allocated specifically for salaries. So if you bring in X and you move X into your salary line, it should be a zero, if I'm understanding this correctly. So I'm just saying, so I guess I'll give it Linda. So I apologize.
Any questions? Thank you.
Any other comments? New business? Any comments? Address the council?
Eric Chatelain, 700 Colonial Club Drive. I came to this meeting right here, budget meeting, and of course, as everyone knows, you could adopt, change the budget, amend it. Once the budget's adopted, you could amend the budget every month. That's the thing that should be done. You come in here this is the first time I've ever seen a budget meeting where we didn't have a finance director. I've never seen something like this. I believe before this meeting was scheduled, it should have been lined up to make sure the finance director could attend the meeting prior to a council member saying we can be there. And I do understand the budget's gonna come in, you're gonna approve the budget, or if y'all approve the budget, and I do understand it's gonna be amended, right after the first of the year. It's just a little confusing on what's going on right here. I'm confused.
Mr. Buddy?
Tommy Buddy, Stony Drive. I don't have any comments about the budget itself and the discussion, but Ms. Lulu has generated an Excel spreadsheet that's been utilized to crunch the numbers. And I suppose what she has given you in the past are PDFs, which you can't go in and use to work the budget. So I'd strongly suggest that you folks get copies of the Excel spreadsheet, and then you can use that to work your budget numbers.
I can walk around with you. Make one comment. We did a budget run today. We still don't have actuals. All of our expenses are still not in our budget, primarily insurance. Is there any reason why she can't give us actual, up-to-date financials?
What insurance are you talking about?
It's the liability.
It's actually,
I believe, Chief, if I recall, there was several times that Linda, Ms. Lulu sent you something to sign off on liability insurance. If you want to meet again and have it resent again to you and the council.
For this year, 2018?
Yes, sir.
we've asked, so
It's been sent.
we need to know what we're signing off on.
It's been sent, and if you need a further explanation, you can also get with All Insurance.
We've
They
asked
can
for
explain.
insurance, won't we do insurance?
I'm not here to fight anybody. It's been sent. It's been sent.
Well, let's get sent to me again.
Because it was actually.
Would you just send her an email asking for what you would like? Thank you, I don't have to do that.
Iron Little 508 Gordon Avenue.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get back to where I am. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm asking a question. So when we put this millage to a vote, we brought it to the people hearing it. Didn't we explain to them that it's strictly for salaries and used for nothing else? So I'm a little lost here, and maybe y'all can explain it to me. So this money that was allocated for salaries only, it sounds like it's getting put in.
Well, and that was my question to Ms. Lulu. When she presented this budget, the first thing I went to was the salary line of the police department. And in my mind, I'm thinking if we generate 400,000,
Right.
then I would see a 400,000 increase in salary line. But I know some breaks out in taxes and this, and this. So when I say it's in the salary, so this is the first I'm getting a response. Her response to me is now probably more confusing than what it was originally, because she was saying, well, if she did that, then the city would be in a deficit by 75,000. And then I said, well, maybe there might be overages in other lines, maybe we need to look at it. My understanding is right. It was to the public that this millage was coming in to give police officers an increase in their pay. Whether you break it down into, if I'm correct, chief. So that was the first line I went to, and I said, well, Linda, I don't see it. I don't see the increase in the salary. So then I get this saying now that if she does put it, now we're like 378 in a deficit. Which again, if the revenue is coming in, that's gonna offset the salary increase, you would think,
Cancel it.
and I would think that.
Right.
But
But what you said is that there were so many reductions in revenue.
Which is dated on the November,
Well, I'm just going
29th.
from that email.
I'm just saying the November 29th email was sent to everyone.
I know she mentioned something about a reduction in court of 140,000.
Right.
She said occupational, I'm very aware of it, Mayor, I read it, thank you.
That's what I'm.
140,000, she said it was a reduction in occupational license, and I think a reduction in maybe
I'm gonna
sales
pause your
tax.
time so that you can.
Thank you. And look, I'm not trying to come up here and cause trouble. I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy,
Well,
and I was just curious.
And again, my theory is if there's a reduction in revenue in those court,
Right.
sales tax, occupational, in my mind, I'm still thinking that's separate from a revenue that's coming in that's specifically
Strictly for
allocated for salaries.
Correct. The way I thought.
So with the last, I thought you were talking about the email that we got today.
Well, I'm just getting it today.
Yeah, and
So,
She talks about the 140,000.
Basically, what happened was that the 400 millage came into place, and that exact money was taken out from the police to make it what the police had last year. So it went throughout the rest of the budget.
No, that if there's a line item going
Right,
to.
right, of course.
But the reason.
Millage is coming in because the police are still at 2.1 million, which they had last year. So that extra 400-something thousand was moved from the police and put elsewhere. Not from the millage, from the general fund.
And she said it was done because you can't
That's
put, well, whether that was done, but the reason that she didn't do the raise for the police department is because if she did the raise for the police department, we would have the 300 and something thousand.
well, first she said it would be 75. Now it's
Okay,
378.
but so anyway, she said it would be 378, and you can't put forth a deficit budget. So,
You have to go and amend lines, pretty much
yes,
what it is.
so
because she
that's what,
went higher on some
she's
lines
just
than
doing
some.
it so that it's legal, that the budget is legal. And then it's up to the council to come back and.
I don't want the citizens to think that it would
Well,
for
that's what I'm
something.
getting
and
at.
they're not
As a
gonna
citizen, I
raise
think
it.
somebody pulled the wool over my eyes.
I-
This is for salary, and then it's not,
It
so.
needs to be, everything needs to be realigned so that it can be done.
So it is definitely allocated for salary.
It is
And
definitely
it's,
allocated.
and it's put there.
But this budget is different than the real.
Bottom line, Brian, is
Ma'am,
that
is that-
millage wasn't a pass. Right now, we'd be looking for 300-something thousand to fill in the gap somewhere in the budget.
So you gotta find it somewhere else.
So you gotta find it somewhere else.
Did you get, I probably would want to share this with you too, Todd, is the November 29th email that Linda sent out. I don't know if you want
No.
to.
I'll
Because
see if I
it-
was,
Just so if you wanted to read it, people know that you're going to get that thing. I'm sorry, Mr. Ash.
I'll yield to Ms. Whittle if she's at.
Ms. Helen, there is, I don't have it in front of me, but, Ms. Linda Lulu does show, actually I do, on page, it's page 33 of the police department budget. You see taxes, you see the police millage come in as a revenue of $427,965. So you do see the revenue come in, but you don't see the expense out. So whenever you look at the proposed budget that the police department did, we didn't expense it out. We just put an expense line under the salary of the $427,965, which increased the 2019 budget by the $427,965. which would use that entire amount. So the revenue is in that police department,
But it's not showing in those
but
expenses.
it is not shown in the expenses.
didn't go up, but it might
The
show
expenses
something.
should go up an entire $27,965. The revenue was showed there, but it's not expensed out. So, I mean, I wasn't paying attention to that whole email. The revenue is showed there, but it's not
Well,
showed
that's
increasing
That's what
the
I was showing to
budget.
y'all's salary line, that was the first thing I
It
brought,
should.
because it should be,
It should be an expense
$400,000
line
more.
in
And it's
that
not.
salary,
Right.
correct. That's where the differentiation
Right, what
is.
they did, they took the general fund section of that money and
Correct.
pulled that money out.
Correct. And that's what happened previously in the past years, that the revenue was there, but the expense wasn't increased. And that's what caused the budget to be over budget.
Jason Asper, 573 Posey. I'm just up here, I'll be real quick. And I was just coming to clarify, I saw the same thing on Monday when I started looking at it. Of course, I didn't parse through the whole budget, but it looked like Mr. Johnson said, the revenue came in, and then, but the 2018 budget for the police was reduced by the amount of that millage. And so that was dispersed everywhere else throughout the budget. But I haven't parsed through every page by page, number by number, but I will by the 20th meeting. And I'll come with a sheet showing that that's exactly what happened. Thank you.
Manuel Adams, Harahan Police Department. I know since department heads are having an issue getting their up-to-date, accurate ending figures, and a comment was made, I don't recall about who, a comment was made, we're trying to get the citizens the ending balance or something of that nature. Since I'm a property owner in the city, can I get it? Because if I can get the ending balance, then I might be able to give it to the department heads, that way they know where they stand, and maybe we might be able to avoid some of these issues. Thank you.
Address the council is now closed. I just want to make some comments before we adjourn. Do you mind giving?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely, thank you.
I hope this was illuminating. There's been some decreases in revenues across the line that have been significant, as we have seen in 2018, that we will expect to continue to see in 2019. There are expenses that will have to be taken into account. Also, we did put in some increase for health insurance. It's not completely considered. I would tell you to be cautious when you move forward. Court fines have significantly gone down, and that really helps the city as a whole. We can't create money out of whole cloth. I don't have it, you know, what happens when the new administration comes in happens. I'm not trying to play any games other than give you real numbers. It's a fact that the video poker has gone down. Sales tax has gone down. Court revenue has gone down. There's a few other revenue line items. Things that you can expect to go up is going to be your health insurance. Liability insurance is going to go up. I've already gotten a heads up about that. You can expect CPIs to kick in. So you can gladly, it'll be interesting to be the observer as you grab from the administration $400,000 in order to function and put it into the police line item. At the end of the day, the argument will still stand that you still have to pay maintenance, have a maintenance crew, street people fixing streets. You're still going to have to pay health insurance. You're still going to have to pay a minimum number of employees. You're still going to have to pay MS4. You're going to have to meet the minimum small contracts that we have that have been renegotiated. So it's going to be the same battle. The battle that you created with me over the last 4 years has not gone away. It's just gonna be Mr. Bodier's and the new town's gonna deal with. So if you can wait some time, and I wish you the best of luck. We are adjourned.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 0 nays.